Hello, this is John Tibbetts, and in the screening room today, I'm interviewing Sean Young, one of the stars of Ridley Scott's new motion picture, Blade Runner. You're also starring with Harrison Ford. Extraordinary motion picture. Did you ever have any idea you would end up after Stripes in a futuristic world of California after the year 2000, playing a most extraordinary kind of character?
I would imagine that I thought that, yes, but not necessarily science fiction.
Yeah.
Science fiction adds a whole new dimension to filmmaking.
Well, I know musical comedy seems to be an ambition of yours or a special interest. Is that true?
Ambition would be more accurate.
Are you saying then that some of the experience in that direction has yet to come, or are you working on it in musical comedy?
I am studying dance and singing and things like that in New York City. Musical comedies are an ambition of mine, and science fiction is something that is very difficult for me to understand. So when I made the film, it was very technical work. I mean, just as far as lighting goes and things like that, because later on they're going to add special effects to it, and they're going to do all those kind of things.
You have to kind of imagine a lot of what's happening on the set that isn't there at all in a movie of this nature. A lot of challenges there upon you as an actress, I would think.
Not so much imagining things that aren't there. What's really interesting about the film is that in the year 2014,
21,
yeah, it's 2020, I'm going to be alive. I'm going to be alive in the year 2020, and I just hope that I'm not living in a place like that when I finally get to the year 2020, because it's portrayed as more of the deterioration of our society rather than the strengthening of it. And I truly believe that my wonderful country is getting better rather than deteriorating.
And Blade Runner shows you in the grip of a nightmare that, who knows, might end up coming to a lot of people in the future. Describe to us the kind of nightmare you're in, the question about your identity.
Well, the funny thing is that my character, Rachel, is absolutely possible by the year 2020. It's absolutely possible that I could be genetically engineered by that time. That's what made it very easy to play the character, because it is possible. Knowing that was a source of direction for me in the character.
You even say to Harrison Ford, possibility here that maybe you too could be genetically engineered.
Right.
I mean, why not?
There were times in the film when thinking about, I mean, as far as, you know, as an actress, you mull around for a long time trying to find who your character is. And you do that by yourself. You do that when you wash the dishes. I mean, you do that when you're on your own time, and it's just peacetime with your own character. And there were times when actually thinking about the fact that in the year 2020, I'm going to be alive, was sort of pin-prickling.
And you're absolutely essential to the film, too, because that nightmare, as I've described, that you're in, really stands at the core of the movie. How do we really know who we are? And how do we know how much time is left to us? Now,
and
because you have a limited lifespan here.
If I have feelings, how does that make me any different than you? How does that make me less of a person just because I was engineered, if I have feelings as well? It's like an important question even now, you know, when you think about slaughtering animals and everything. I mean, there are some feelings that are aroused in a person when they watch Blade Runner, because it can affect you on many different levels as far as where our society is going and where we are as people and what we really take for granted.
You know, I have to ask you this, pardon me, but so many of my friends out there will absolutely kill me unless I do. What was it like working with Harrison Ford, especially in the love scenes? Can't help it, I've got to ask it.
No big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal, folks, really, no. Harrison was it wasn't, you know, my heart didn't beat, you know, with romantic love fever.
Were you too busy perspiring all of the time?
I'm too busy working on my own character to really be concerned with Harrison at that time. And Harrison is really too busy working on his character to really be concerned with me. And it's very strange that that would be the case in a love scene where, you know, two people are coming together there. But because of the nature of that love scene, because it's very violent, I mean, it's a it's not exactly the most tender love scene you've ever seen.
Well, he kind of gets into a macho routine with you there when you're alone together, and I was struck by that in the script. I wasn't quite sure maybe what was going on there.
You think you weren't
I mean, as
clear
an
what was going on? Think how I felt.
What was it like? You have feelings, but as an android, do you have to be instructed sort of in how to love?
Well, that's the whole point. Basically, what I am is a person who doesn't have any love or sexual experience at all. That makes me
no comment on any of that. Okay.
That makes me basically having no experience to draw from. So the intention of the scene was that I was running out because I was just reacting like that does not compute. You know, I just don't understand this. I'm getting out of here. For fear, and everybody encounters fear in terms of sexuality and some part of their development as a human being. And I was getting out, and the intention of the scene, the love scene, was for Harrison, for Deckard, to force me to confront my own sexuality as a human being.
I think people are going to want to watch for this scene very carefully. It might even arouse some controversy. I'm curious to see what sort of general reaction we get on that. Well, for example, feminists out there, they might be wanting to jump on a scene like that, saying you play a very vulnerable female character capable of a lot of feelings, but yet the male has to instruct you, that sort of thing. Is that something that never has bothered you about doing that scene?
The scene is not a scene I'd want to do over again.
No?
It's not a scene I'd want to do over again because of the violent intention of the character Deckard. I mean, it wasn't a pleasant scene. It wasn't the type of scene where you go, darling. You know, I mean, that wouldn't have been appropriate in terms of that scene anyhow. So you just, it's meant to arouse that type of feeling in you. It's not exactly a real love scene. Really, you know, it's not a real love scene.
Sean, we're about out of time, and I hope you'll permit me simply to say that in a film that's going to get a lot of press because of its special effects and with Harrison Ford and all of that, there's a wonderful vulnerability that you have that, for my money, really is at the core of this movie. And I want to congratulate you on a fine performance, and all of the best to you in Blade Runner. I'm John Tibbetts. Thank you very much.